Well, India has done a lot of work in the field of environmental assessment and in land acquisition. Therefore, we would like to know what other countries are doing in this sector, and there would be a lot of participation and exchange of views on these common issues, and that would be my main takeaway.
I find this conference very strategic. In this conference, we have opportunity to meet with each other in this region, and we have opportunity to share and learn from each other experiences, and we can improve our safeguard system.
I found it very interesting this morning to hear about different perspectives from both members of government in recipient countries, as well as people who work at the financial institutions, and the different ways in which we are looking at the issue, but at the same time coming up against very similar questions.
The most important takeaway would be that how in different countries people are implementing the policies and requirements of ADB, and what kind of issues, challenges they are facing, and how best to address them.
My main takeaway from this conference that we're having this week is that things are progressing very well. There's a tremendous amount of enthusiasm in the participants, and partnership is becoming more and more the theme that people are thinking about. I'm certain as we leave this meeting, the partnerships, both formal and informal, that are developed here will carry us forward quite well.
They have to make sure that how best to integrate the national requirements with the ADB requirements, and this can be done, in my opinion, over a period of time in a gradual and calibrated manner. So ADB as well as the respective countries, they have to make sure that both of them work for inclusion, not for exclusion.
As you know, there are a great lot of problems which countries are facing. So therefore, ADB can do a lot of evidence-based advocacy. What works under what circumstances, that would be very useful to the countries.
No, I think it's obtainable. I mean, we can achieve it. For the NGO role, since the NGO become one of main stakeholders in the NIA system in Indonesia, their role will be significant in this case. I hope the NGO can advocating impacted people.
I don't think it's too high. I think many of the requirements are things that the government themselves have already promised they'll be doing. What's challenging is oftentimes implementation of the laws. And so, yes, and sometimes it can be too much of an expectation to expect that a government is going to be able to implement all on its own the safeguard policy. So I don't think that means that you lower the policies, but instead you help the government come to the level that needs to be to implement the policies. And civil society, I think, can play a huge role, mostly because they are kind of the public that can hold its own government to account.
I think these workshops are very useful. First of all, they generate a great deal of knowledge. Secondly, by bringing countries together, they help in mutual exchange.
Oh, yes, of course. It can be very good for all of us. I think not only the country in this region, but also for the bank itself.
I believe that workshops, when well prepared like this one has been, contribute significantly to knowledge sharing. We should proceed to have another regional workshop in the future, and I've argued in my own presentations that this should be complemented by some sub-regional workshops where we're able to bring together smaller clusters of interested parties to forge partnerships on more specific issues, which would be an advantage of doing that.
The main issue for the land acquisition, because sometimes the problem in land acquisition not only in the economical term. Land for some people means a cultural thing. So if we force people to move from their land, we kind of pull out their root, because for some people, land means their identity.
There are some issues that are going to need greater priority, And I think one of the most important things is to continue both the work on environmental assessment. I think we also, though, need is going forward and coming out of this meeting to reflect more on how do we improve involuntary resettlement and land acquisition approaches, as well as better approaching this very special and important needs of Indigenous people. So I would say the social side remains one of the challenges we need to think of, leaving this meeting but coming back into the next workshops in the future.
All that I have to say on this is that the regular consultations, discussions, they must keep on happening because this is an evolving process. If we think that we will be able to find solutions only in one workshop or one conference, I think that would be expecting too much. This has to be done, as I repeatedly am saying, in a phased manner, in a gradual manner. Therefore, the dialogue and the discussion must keep on going.